Hello there, and welcome. Tonight, as the world outside grows quieter, and the hum of your room softens into a gentle rhythm, let's travel far beyond the cities, beyond the forests, beyond even the oceans that you know. Let's drift backward, not by years or centuries, but by hundreds of millions of years into the heart of the Mesozoic Era, when Earth was still dreaming itself into shape. Take a slow breath. Inhale the stillness of this moment. Exhale, and let everything that belongs to the day dissolve into the dark. Now imagine, before your eyelids, a world unfolds, a world both alien and familiar, where every gust of wind carried the scent of ferns taller than buildings, and the sky glowed not blue, but amber with volcanic haze. The air was heavier then, thicker, warmer. Oxygen danced differently through its currents. Clouds hung lower, rain fell slower, and in that lush heaviness, life began to expand, daring to grow larger, stronger, stranger. Dinosaurs, conifers, dragonflies with wings like glass windows, they weren't just creatures of their time. They were the embodiment of a planet that had finally learned how to breathe deeply. Before the Mesozoic came, the Great Dying, the Permian extinction, a silence so vast that nearly every living voice on Earth faded away. And yet, out of that silence, a heartbeat returned. The Earth exhaled again. The first forests of the New Age unfurled their leaves towards sunlight. The soil regained its pulse. Rivers redrew their paths through stone. And from the ashes of one world, another began to hum softly into being. You can almost hear it now, the low, patient rhythm of creation. Not a bang, not a sudden flare of brilliance, but a steady song of transformation. Volcanoes rumbled deep beneath the sea. Continents drifted like slow-moving clouds. The world wasn't chaotic. It was simply becoming. Close your eyes, if they aren't already. Feel how your breath mirrors the pulse of the planet, slow, cyclical, continuous. Every inhale, a birth. Every exhale, a gentle decay. This rhythm has always been here, long before lungs or language existed. It's the same rhythm that stirred the tides and sculpted the continents you stand on today. Imagine standing at the edge of one of those ancient seas. The waves don't sound like ours. They move differently, thicker, more deliberate, as if the water itself remembers its own weight. Each crest glimmers with minerals that once slept inside volcanoes. The sand beneath your feet isn't sand yet, it's crushed coral, newborn limestone, fragments of creatures that never had names. And above you, the first pterosaurs tilt their wings against the wind, tracing invisible geometry through a sky untouched by smoke or satellites. In the distance, a volcano sighs a long, deep breath from the lungs of the planet. It doesn't roar with anger, it exhales creation. The air glows with embers. Rain falls through ash, turning the world sepia and gold. If you listen carefully, beneath the hiss of falling debris, there's something else, a whisper of renewal. This is not destruction, it's transformation. Sometimes we think of the past as something buried, but the earth never buries, it layers. Every fossil, every grain of sand, every breath you take is part of a vast, ongoing record. Nothing truly disappears. It simply shifts shape, waiting for its next form. And in that sense, the Mesozoic never really ended, it just folded itself into the soil beneath your pillow. You may be lying still now, eyes half closed, but your body is part of this same unfolding. The calcium in your bones once drifted through Mesozoic oceans. The iron in your blood once shimmered in the heart of a volcano. You are not separate from that world, you are its echo. A quiet continuation of the same ancient experiment called life. Let your mind wander across that idea for a moment. You, breathing in the 21st century, share atoms with dinosaurs and cycads and ammonites. When you sigh, some particle of that air may once have filled the lungs of a creature long extinct. When you dream, your neurons spark with electricity that once flashed through the nervous system of something reptilian, ancient, and wild. Time, perhaps, is less like a river and more like an ocean, every wave folding into another, every current circling back upon itself. Outside, the modern world continues its hum. A carpas, A clock ticks. But here, in this moment between breaths, you are standing in the Mesozoic twilight, surrounded by the first forests after the Great Silence. The wind brushes through cycads, the earth smells of resin and rain, and far above, a comet traces a path that won't be seen again for 100 million years. Maybe that's what peace truly is, the awareness that everything is always changing, yet somehow remains. That even in extinction, there's continuity. That even in endings, there's quiet purpose. The earth, like you, has never stopped breathing. It just changes rhythm from age to age. So, tonight, as you listen, remember this. Every mountain once slept beneath the sea. Every grain of dust has burned inside a star. And every story, even the one you are living now, began with a single breath of the planet. Let the world outside fade. The night will hold you. The earth will keep turning, as it always has, slowly, endlessly, beautifully. When you're ready, take one more slow inhale. And exhale gently. That's it. You're in tune now with the deep time of the earth, with the silence that gave birth to sound, with the memory of everything that was and still is. And as your breathing steadies, the story continues. The question remains, what if the earth never stopped changing? What if the Mesozoic still whispers beneath our feet, reshaping the world in ways we've yet to see? The journey has only begun. If you listen carefully, you'll notice that silence is never truly silent. Beneath the stillness of the night, there's always something moving, a low hum, a vibration, the faintest pulse of existence. That pulse belongs to the earth. It has never stopped. It has only changed tempo. What if the story of the Mesozoic, that golden age of giants and shifting continents, isn't a memory at all, but a mirror, a reflection of what continues to unfold beneath our feet, in slow motion, too vast for human eyes to follow? Could it be that Earth's greatest secret is not its history, but its continuity? Think about it. Nothing on this planet has ever stayed still. Continents drift like dreamers in their sleep. Oceans inhale and exhale with the moon. Mountains rise and crumble like slow-motion waves. Even the air, which seems weightless, is constantly being reborn, each molecule traveling from lungs to leaf to ocean to sky, in an endless, graceful loop. The Earth doesn't resist change. It is change. Every layer of rock, every ripple of wind, every fossilized footprint tells the same quiet truth. Transformation is not an event, it's the language of the planet. And we, the late-born observers, are simply learning to listen. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that you could stand somewhere beyond time, looking down at the planet across billions of years, as if watching a candle flicker in slow motion. You'd see fire, then water, then ice, then green. You'd see continents join and part, as if the Earth were breathing continents in and out. You'd watch oceans appear where mountains once stood, and mountains rise from the ghost of oceans. It would look chaotic, yet strangely calm, a pattern without haste, a movement without destination. Perhaps the Earth is not trying to become anything at all. Perhaps it simply is alive in ways we cannot measure, changing not to progress, but to remain in harmony with itself. In that sense, the Mesozoic was not a chapter to be closed. It was a heartbeat in a symphony that still continues. Sometimes I wonder, does the Earth feel its own history? Does it remember the warmth of the Triassic seas, the scent of resin from Jurassic forests, the thunder of creatures that no longer roam? When the wind brushes through the canopies today, is that memory stirring? Or are these echoes simply vibrations of time, replayed endlessly through matter? We humans build monuments to remember, but the Earth embodies memory. Its rivers carve remembrance into stone. Its glaciers write poems of patience. Its deserts whisper of abundance that once was. And its volcanoes, oh, those fiery lungs remind us that creation and destruction are the same breath, drawn in two directions. Take a moment to breathe again. Inhale slowly. Exhale slower still. You are breathing the same air that once surrounded the bodies of creatures from the Mesozoic. The same molecules that cooled the scales of an iguanodon at dusk may now glide past your lips. The Earth doesn't draw a line between past and present. It recycles its essence through every living thing. Time, to this planet is not a straight road but a circle made of dust and light. And yet, we call the Mesozoic the age of reptiles, as though it were a distant, concluded story. But the truth is gentler, stranger. The same mechanisms that made that world possible, tectonics, magnetism, sunlight, gravity, are still shaping us now. The continents still move, volcanoes still sing, rain still erode us, rivers still carve, life still adapts. Nothing that once was has ever truly ceased to be. The only difference is scale and speed. Back then, change unfolded at the pace of mountains. Today, it moves with the haste of our own species. We've become both witnesses and participants in Earth's eternal metamorphosis. Perhaps that's why this question matters so much. Why does the Earth never stop changing? Because, perhaps, change is not what happens to the Earth, it's what the Earth is. Picture, for a moment, the core beneath us molten, restless, spinning with metallic rhythm. Every second, it sends magnetic waves through stone and ocean, invisible yet constant. That pulse, that inner heartbeat is older than any life form, older than any continent. It's the original rhythm of creation, still echoing within the planet's chest. When you walk across the ground, you are walking over that pulse, a living drumbeat beneath the silence. And if you could place your hand on the crust and listen deeply enough, you might feel that same vibration inside yourself. The boundary between the human and the planet begins to blur. Our bones remember gravity. Our blood remembers salt water. Our cells remember sunlight. In ways beyond words, we are part of the same endless metamorphosis. Some nights, the thought can be dizzying that the ground beneath your bed is slowly moving, inch by inch, carrying you across oceans of time. But perhaps it's also comforting, because it means you are never truly still, even when you rest. The earth carries you gently along its eternal drift, like a parent rocking a child to sleep. And maybe that's the secret of peace, not to stop the movement, but to move with it, to breathe in rhythm with the planet, to live knowing that impermanence is not loss, but continuity in disguise. So tonight, as the lights dim and your breath grows softer, hold this image. A planet forever reshaping itself, folding fire into stone, stone into soil, soil into life. Every second, it forgets and remembers itself again. And somewhere, deep in the memory of the Earth, the Mesozoic still lingers not as a ghost, but as an ongoing dream. Perhaps that's the true answer to our question. The Earth never stops changing because change is its heartbeat. And we, tiny and temporary, are the pulse it sends outward, a fleeting rhythm in its endless song. Now, rest. Feel the floor beneath you, the quiet echo of tectonic patience. Feel the air that once shimmered in a prehistoric forest. You are surrounded by transformation, yet it all feels calm. The earth is still breathing. And so are you. The two of you, planet and dreamer, remain perfectly in sync, sharing one long, unbroken breath. Before we drift any deeper, let's pause for a moment. Where are you right now? What time is it where you are listening? Maybe it's late, the kind of late when the streets are empty and the hum of the refrigerator feels like an ocean far away. Maybe you're on a train, or lying in bed, or sitting quietly in a corner of your room, letting the glow of your screen flicker against the wall. Wherever you are, it's enough. This small island of quiet you've built for yourself, that's where our story lives tonight. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to concentrate or analyze. You only need to breathe. Just let the story carry you the way waves carry driftwood, slowly, gently, always toward rest. Take one breath in. Let it fill your lungs like warm light. And as you exhale, imagine the day dissolving, its sharp edges softening into dust. Whatever happened before this moment, let it go. Whatever waits for you tomorrow, let it wait. For now, there is only this, the sound of your breath and the slow, steady turning of the earth beneath you. Maybe you didn't realize it before, but you and the planet are always in conversation. Each time you inhale, you borrow air from the forests. Each time you exhale, You give something back, a trace of yourself that becomes food for trees, for moss, for life unseen. It's a quiet exchange, a gift passed endlessly between living things. The same rhythm that once guided the ferns of the Jurassic now moves through your chest. You are breathing with the ghosts of the Mesozoic, and they are breathing with you. If that thought makes you smile, let it. If it makes you feel small, that's okay too. Smallness is not insignificance, it's belonging. A mountain is large, but a grain of sand still carries its memory. You too are a memory of the earth, shaped from its minerals, animated by its sunlight. You are not separate from nature, you are one of its dreams, still unfolding. Now, while you rest in that thought, I want to ask you something, not as a narrator, but as another traveler through time. How do you feel, knowing that the ground beneath you is older than language? That every wall, every cup, every breath around you is made of recycled stardust, millions of years in the making? Does that make you feel eternal or beautifully temporary? There's no right answer. That's part of the wonder, to sit quietly in the not knowing, to realize that mystery doesn't demand understanding, it only asks to be felt. And as you feel it, this quiet awe, I invite you to join in a small ritual that so many listeners before you have done. If you wish, leave a tiny trace of your journey. Write, in the comments or in your heart, where in the world you are listening from. It doesn't have to be grand, just the name of your city, or the hour on your clock, or the weather outside your window. Because somewhere, someone else is doing the same. Right now, as you listen, another soul halfway across the planet may be drifting into sleep to the same story, under a sky full of the same stars. And when you share where you are, you remind the earth that its voices are still connected, quiet islands in one vast ocean of time. You see, that's the quiet magic of these nights together. They aren't performances, they're reunions, between you and the world, between the ancient and the modern, between the living and the once living. Every time you come here, every time you listen, you participate in the oldest rhythm, the rhythm of curiosity, rest, and wonder. So if you ever feel like supporting this little space with a like, a comment, a small gesture of presence, it's not for the algorithm, it's for the echo, so that the stories of the earth keep finding those who need them most at the quietest hour, when the heart is soft and the mind is open. Now, take another deep breath. Feel how your ribs expand, like tectonic plates drifting gently apart. Feel how your exhale settles, like volcanic dust sinking into the sea. The same physics that shaped continents are shaping you, molecule by molecule. You are geological and emotional at once, a walking fragment of the Earth's long memory. If you could see the world from above right now, not the maps, but the living globe itself, you would see a web of soft lights, little human constellations scattered across night and day. Each light, a heartbeat, a story, a listener. Somewhere it's dawn, somewhere it's midnight. But time, like the earth, is round and here. In this shared moment, it folds in on itself so that no one is too far away. Isn't it strange and beautiful how sound can bridge centuries and continents? How a whisper recorded in one corner of the world can reach your pillow, your headphones, your dreams. When you listen, you carry not just this voice, but the breath of the storyteller, the hum of the studio, the memory of the ancient forests that gave air to both. That's what this project is, not a channel, but a circle, a gentle reminder that stories are simply another way the earth keeps talking to itself through us. Outside, maybe there's wind against your window, maybe rain, maybe nothing but quiet. But in that quiet, there's always movement, your heartbeat, the turning of the planet, the slow expansion of night. It's all part of one conversation, Earth whispering, "I'm still here," and you answering, "So am I." Judo. So if you're still awake, take one last breath with intention. Feel the cool air enter, the warm air leave. Notice the pause between them that still point where everything holds its balance. That's where the story lives. Between inhale and exhale. Between light and dark. Between knowing and wondering. And if you feel your eyelids grow heavier now, that's all right. The earth doesn't need your attention, it only asks for your presence. Even if you fall asleep halfway through, the story continues without you, softly, like an ocean that keeps touching the shore whether anyone's watching or not. So, wherever you are, good night, good evening, good morning. May your dreams be gentle. May your breath stay slow. And may you always remember that you are made of the same dust that once shimmered in the Mesozoic Sunday. Now rest. The journey through deep time is only beginning. Time. We think we understand it, the ticking of a clock, the rising of the sun, the pages of a calendar turned one by one. But what if time is not a line, but an ocean? What if every second you live floats upon waves that began before the moon existed? Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine you are floating not on water, but on time itself. Beneath you stretch the layers of the earth, molten rock, compressed oceans, fossilized forests, continents folded and refolded like paper. Each layer whispers a story not in words, but in minerals. Granite murmurs of mountain births. Sandstone hums of deserts long gone. Limestone sings softly of coral kingdoms that once shimmered beneath green seas. When geologists speak of deep time, they are trying to describe the indescribable, an expanse so vast that the human mind cannot contain it. 4.5 billion years. It's easy to say, harder to feel. So let's try to feel it. Let's stretch the imagination until it trembles at its edges. If all of Earth's history were compressed into one single day, 24 hours, then humans, our entire story, would appear in the last second before midnight. The Mesozoic Era, the reign of the dinosaurs, would begin around 10:40 p.m. and end a few minutes before 11:40. And yet, that single hour was long enough for mountains to rise and fall, for entire oceans to open and close, for life to invent wings, flowers, and warm blood. Imagine what it means. An hour of Earth's day equals 180 million years. Now breathe. Think of how brief a single breath is. Maybe 3 seconds? In those 3 seconds, the continents have moved just a few millimeters, but multiplied across eternity, they have crossed the world. That is deep time, a rhythm so slow that it can only be felt, not seen. The heartbeat of the planet, the slow inhale and exhale of creation itself. If you listen carefully, you can almost hear it. The grind of rock beneath rock, the sigh of magma cooling, the steady dripping of water carving a cave, molecule by molecule. Each sound is a note in Earth's endless song of transformation. We live on a planet that never sleeps, it only changes its pace. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a canyon. The wind brushes past your skin, soft and dry. You look down and see the layers of stone reds, yellows, ochres, black veins running like ink through pages. Each stripe of color is a memory, millions of years of rain, wind, sunlight, and silence. If the canyon were a book, you'd be reading the autobiography of the world, and every layer would end with the same sentence. And still, the earth continued. Well, it's humbling, isn't it, to realize that even your bones, which feel so permanent, will one day join those layers. You too are part of the strata of deep time. Every cell, every breath, every thought will return to the cycle, broken down, reshaped, reborn as something else. Perhaps as rain, perhaps as soil, perhaps as light. Deep time doesn't erase, it transforms. It takes what was and folds it into what will be. It remembers everything, but never clings to it. And in that letting go, there is peace, the kind of peace that only the ancient can know. Sometimes, when the night is still, I imagine the earth turning slowly beneath my feet, not just spinning in space, but rotating through epochs. Each turn a new chapter, each breath of wind a whisper from a past life of the planet. The same wind that touches your window tonight once swept across the backs of pterosaurs. The same rain that falls on your roof once rippled across the skin of a plesiosaur diving deep. The same sunlight that warms your hands once kindled the first flowers of the Cretaceous. You are touching the echoes of the Mesozoic without even realizing it. Now think of a single second, this one. Right now, while you're reading or listening, somewhere deep beneath the oceans, magma is pushing upward, creating new land. A glacier is cracking, beginning its long retreat. A seed is opening beneath the soil, and an atom of your breath is drifting upward, joining the jet stream, beginning a journey that will take it around the world in less than a year. Even this instant belongs to deep time. We often say life is short, but what if it's the opposite? What if life is vast, and we are the ones who have made our vision too narrow? Each moment stretches into eternity if you look close enough. Each grain of sand is a planet's autobiography, compressed into silence. Deep time teaches patience. It teaches humility. It teaches that nothing, not even loss, is final, because everything that falls apart will, in some form, come together again. The mountain that crumbles becomes the soil that feeds a new forest. The body that returns to dust becomes the stone that shelters the next generation of roots. Time doesn't destroy, it rearranges. When you breathe again, imagine that you are inhaling all of this, the patience of rock, the wisdom of dust, the calm of ages. Let that breath stay in your chest for a moment. Then release it, slowly. You are exhaling the future. Your breath will join clouds, cross oceans, fall as rain somewhere far away. You are participating in the oldest cycle in existence, the transformation of the earth through time. And maybe that's the point of understanding deep time, not to measure it, but to surrender to it. To realize that you don't need to rush, the planet never has. That you don't need to hold on, the earth never does. To exist is enough. To breathe is to belong. If you ever feel small against the weight of history, remember, even mountains start as whispers of dust. Even continents began as ripples in magma. And you, tiny as you are, carry their rhythm in your pulse. So tonight, as you lie still, let the ticking of clocks fade. They measure seconds. But you are drifting in eons. You are older than calendars, younger than stars, alive precisely in between. Let the thought soften you. Let it lull you. Time is not chasing you. It's cradling you. You are not moving through time. Time is moving through you endlessly, gently, like the breath of the earth itself. And somewhere, far away, the fossils of the Mesozoic sleep in stone, not gone, not forgotten, just waiting for the next tide of change. Imagine, for a moment, the world awakening after a long, quiet death. The air still trembles from the memory of extinction, the great dying, when almost all life faded into ash and silence. For millions of years, the earth had held its breath. But slowly, gently, she began to inhale again. It started with heat. From deep inside her molten heart, the planet stirred. Volcanoes rose like new thoughts, exhaling carbon and sulfur into skies already pale with dust. The seas, once poisoned, began to shimmer again. Tiny organisms, invisible yet determined, stitched oxygen back into the waves. And somewhere in that chemical dusk, the first green returned. This was the Triassic, the dawn of the Mesozoic. The continents, once fused into a single giant called Pangaea, began to creak and sigh, drifting apart like ice on a warming lake. Rifts split the crust, birthing oceans in slow motion. Imagine the sound, not a roar, but a deep, patient cracking, the voice of stone rediscovering movement. The air was warmer, then thick with greenhouse gases. No ice caps yet, no poles of white. Seasons blurred. Monsoons swept across endless plains of red sand and fern. Rain carved canyons where deserts had slept. Lightning stitched the sky with veins of silver, sparking the first forests of a reborn world. Breathe in. The oxygen of that age would have felt different, heavier, perhaps sweeter, carrying the scent of resin and wet soil. Every storm rewrote the landscape. Every sunrise revealed new colors on mountains still steaming from the planet's own breath. It was not chaos. It was renewal, the slow choreography of recovery. Now, picture the creatures that emerged from that silence. At first, small, cautious things, reptiles with narrow legs and bright, intelligent eyes. Then amphibians, vast and strange, gliding through warm lakes. The first archosaurs appeared ancestors of both crocodiles and birds, testing the ground with claws built for tomorrow. Evolution was improvising again, composing with the broken instruments of what came before. and as the Triassic gave way to the Jurassic, the Earth began to bloom. Rainforests stretched across what we now call Europe. The oceans shimmered with ammonites, shells coiled like galaxies, and in the sky, the first true flyers, pterosaurs, traced wide arcs over shimmering lagoons. Their wings caught the gold of the morning light, their cries echoing across valleys that no human ear would ever hear. At that time, the continents were still neighbors. You could walk from one end of the world to the other, crossing through forests of cycads and conifers, hearing the low thunder of distant creatures. The air buzzed with dragonflies the size of your hand, bees that hadn't yet learned to love flowers. And beneath the canopy, the soil steamed alive, fragrant, fertile. Every root whispered upward, "Grow, grow, grow." The Mesozoic wasn't merely an era, it was a resurrection. After so much loss, life returned, not timidly, but triumphantly. Everything that survived seemed to grow larger, stranger, braver, as if defying the memory of extinction itself. The Earth had rediscovered her courage. If you could stand in one of those forests, perhaps in what would later become South America or Africa, you'd see trunks as wide as ancient pillars, dripping with sap that smelled of honey and iron. The sunlight would fall in shafts of amber, painting the mist in liquid gold. And through that golden haze, something would move slow, deliberate, colossal. A sauropod, maybe. Its tail carving arcs through the air like a pendulum of time itself. Every footstep would make the ground tremble not in violence, but in rhythm, as if the planet were nodding in time to its own rebirth. Beneath those forests, deep under layers of soil and lava, the continents kept moving. The Atlantic Ocean was still unborn, but you could already feel it stirring, invisible, inevitable. The tectonic plates slid like drifting thoughts, patient and unstoppable. Each millimeter of motion was a promise. Nothing stays still for long. And through this vast shifting, climates danced. Regions that once drowned in rain dried into savannas. Deserts bloomed with brief, furious green. Inland seas rose, then vanished. Every generation of creatures adapted, died, evolved. There was no permanence, only motion, only transformation. This was the foundation of the Mesozoic, a planet alive with movement, its surface trembling with creation. Earth wasn't a stage where life appeared. It was a participant, a sculptor, a restless dreamer. Mountains were her thoughts, oceans her sighs, volcanoes her heartbeat. And through her changing moods, life learned resilience, how to bend, how to burn, how to begin again. Take a deep breath now. Inhale through your nose, slow and steady. Exhale through your mouth, softer than a whisper. That breath connects you directly to that ancient air recycled through eons, refined through forests long turned to coal. When you breathe, you're taking in a fraction of that age, an invisible thread of the same oxygen that once shimmered in the lungs of a brachiosaur or a fern beneath a prehistoric Sunday. That's the quiet miracle of this planet. Nothing is ever lost. Not a drop of water, not a breath, not a thought. Everything that ever was continues reshaped, reborn, remembered in the structure of the world itself. When you look at a mountain, you're seeing time turn solid. When you hold a pebble, you're touching what once was fire. And when you close your eyes tonight, letting the weight of the day fall away, you're resting on a planet that has been rebuilding itself for 4 billion years. The Mesozoic was just one deep breath in an endless cycle of exhale and renewal, and still, the rhythm goes on. So let the sound of your own breathing blend with that rhythm. The hum of your room is the hum of deep time. The stillness around you is the stillness between tectonic beats. You are resting on a living world, a world that learned long ago how to rise again after every ending. And that, perhaps, is the greatest foundation of all. Long before humans learned to name eras, before Mesozoic or Cretaceous ever existed, there was only the story. A story told not in science, but in symbols. The ancients called her Gaia, the Great Mother. To others, she was Nua, Pachamama, Geb, Ki, or simply the Earth. Not a planet, but a presence breathing, dreaming, creating, destroying, and beginning again. And perhaps, as we return now to the world of the Mesozoic, It's worth remembering. Every mountain once had a heartbeat. Every forest was once a thought in her mind. Every creature, a gesture of her endless imagination. In Greek myth, Gaia rose from chaos not as a goddess sculpted from stone, but as the stone itself, the fertile ground beneath all things. She gave birth to the sky, the sea, and the underworld. From her came the titans, the gods, and every living being that ever touched the soil. She wasn't distant, like Zeus or Apollo. She was immediate, the smell of rain, the weight of clay, the tremor beneath your feet. When volcanoes erupted, she spoke. When earthquakes shook, she stirred. When forests grew, she sang. And somewhere deep within the Mesozoic, she was singing louder than ever. The earth was young again, full of fire and vitality. You could almost imagine her, stretching after a long sleep, her green robes flowing with fern and vine. Each mountain was a fold in her garment, each ocean a curve of her body. The clouds were her breath, the lightning her pulse, and the dinosaurs, those colossal, magnificent children, were her wandering thoughts made flesh. Across the world, different peoples told the same story in different tongues. In China, Nuwa molded the first beings from yellow clay and repaired the cracks of heaven with stones of 5 colors. In Sumer, Ki lay beneath the sky god An, and together they brought forth life. In the Andes, Pachamama gave food, warmth, and storms both kind and cruel. No matter the name, the meaning was the same. The earth was alive. Not something to conquer, but someone to listen to. Even now, that story whispers through the soil. Science gives us data. Myth gives us belonging. Both, in their own way, describe the same truth, that the planet is not an object, but a relationship. It breathes with us. It suffers with us. It remembers us. Close your eyes. Imagine Gaia in her Mesozoic form, radiant, unhurried, cloaked in forests that hum with life. Her rivers are veins of silver, her mountains bones of crystal. She turns in her sleep, and continents drift apart. She sighs, and clouds form. She dreams, and evolution answers. In every epoch, she writes poetry, but her verses take millions of years to unfold. What makes this image powerful is not that it's literal, but that it feels true. Because when you stand barefoot on wet soil after rain, something inside you recognizes her. When you listen to the ocean at night, you can feel her heartbeat beneath the waves. When you hold a stone, cool and smooth in your palm, you are holding one of her memories, a word in her endless language of silence. The Mesozoic, then, was one of her wildest chapters. She was in her youth exuberant, fertile, fearless. Every color was brighter, every sound louder. Lightning flashed across jungles without end. Rivers sang songs that would become fossils of melody. She painted with volcanoes and storms, sculpted with wind and tide. And when creatures grew too great, she humbled them with patience, not through cruelty, but through balance, the quiet correction of excess. In the myths, Gaia is not gentle. She is kind, but never safe. Creation and destruction are her twin hands. When she gives in abundance. When she takes completely. Perhaps that's what the end of the Mesozoic truly was, not punishment, but transformation, a change of mood in the endless song of the earth. The philosophers of old understood something that modern hearts sometimes forget. To live well on earth is to live in rhythm with her moods. The Egyptians spoke of ma'at, balance, harmony, the invisible order that keeps the world from falling into chaos. To defy that balance was to invite decay. The same law ruled the Mesozoic. Every tree, every storm, every creature moved within her design, not outside it. When one form of life grew too dominant, the balance shifted. And when the comet came or the volcanoes rose, she began anew. Perhaps the true myth of Gaia is not one of origin, but of endurance. She does not cling to what she creates. She lets go. And through that letting go, she renews. That is a lesson older than humanity. One we relearn every time we stand before the ocean and feel both fear and love. Take a slow breath. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth, steady and gentle. You are breathing the same air that filled her lungs, metaphorical, yet real in its cycle. Through your breath, you join her again, as all living things do. You inhale her gift, and return it changed. The earth has no temples but the ones we walk upon, no prayers but the silence between waves. Yet each heartbeat, each whisper, each moment of gratitude is a form of worship, a way of saying, I remember where I came from. And maybe that's enough. So tonight, as you listen to this story unfold, let yourself drift between myth and matter, between science and spirit, between knowing and feeling, because somewhere in between those spaces lives the truth that we are not visitors here. We are her children, her thoughts, her brief experiment in awareness. The Mesozoic Earth, with all its thunder and flame, was not just the stage for evolution, it was Gaia herself, dreaming in color. And every leaf, every scale, every heartbeat that rose and fell in that time was a note in her long, symphonic breath. As you exhale, imagine that your breath joins hers, invisible, ancient, infinite. You are part of her story still, and as long as she dreams, so do you. When the earth finished dreaming herself into forests and oceans, life responded with boldness. The world of the Mesozoic was not quiet. It was a chorus, wings, scales, thunderous footsteps, and 1,000 voices woven into one. Everything grew larger, as if life itself had decided to breathe deeper than ever before. Close your eyes and listen. The air is warm, thick with moisture and pollen. Somewhere far away, thunder rumbles not from the sky, but from the earth itself. It's the sound of movement, slow, heavy, deliberate. You are hearing a heartbeat made of footsteps. From behind the curtain of ferns, a giant emerges. Its neck rises higher than the trees, its eyes calm, ancient, golden. It takes one step, and the ground trembles like a drum beneath your feet. This is a sauropod, perhaps a brachiosaurus or an argentinosaurus, an animal that carries a mountain's grace within a heartbeat. Its tail sways behind it like a pendulum measuring eternity. Its breath leaves clouds that shimmer in the sunlight, heavy with the scent of green leaves and river air. They were not monsters. They were miracles. They lived in balance with the earth that made them. Every muscle, every motion was the planet's experiment in grandeur. All around, the landscape hums with life. Herds of hadrosaurs move through the lowlands, their calls echoing like hollow horns. Triceratops graze slowly, their frilled crowns catching the morning light, the earth's way of painting armor with beauty. And somewhere in the distance, a predator stirs. Its eyes narrow. It lowers its head, tasting the air. Tyrannosaurus rex, a creature of design so perfect that even silence seemed to step aside for it. Not evil, not cruel, simply alive. It moved with purpose, as everything did, fulfilling a role written long before thought itself. Above, the sky belongs to the winged ones. Pterosaurs glide through humid air, their wings shimmering like sails of silk. They spiral and dive, their shadows racing across lagoons, glowing green under the prehistoric Sunday. Their cries are sharp, metallic echoes of the wind's own memory. And between them, something smaller flutters, delicate, curious, uncertain, a feathered creature, halfway between reptile and bird, Archaeopteryx, the first whisper of song in a world that had known only roar. It lifts from a branch, wings beating awkwardly. Feathers catch the light, a soft shimmer of bronze and shadow. And for the first time, the air itself becomes a playground. The dream of flight has entered the earth's imagination, and nothing will ever be the same again. The seas, too, are alive, vast, and mysterious. Imagine standing on a cliff overlooking a Cretaceous ocean. Below you, the water is turquoise, deep, and full of motion. Then a shadow passes, enormous, sinuous, a Mosasaurus. It glides beneath the surface like a thought through memory. Its tail moves with the rhythm of tides, its teeth glinting with cold light. Nearby, ammonites spiral upward, their shells reflecting rainbow hues. They are the galaxies of the deep perfect, repeating, eternal. Everywhere, life is experimenting, on land, in air, in sea. Flowers have not yet fully bloomed, but seeds are learning patience. Trees stretch toward the sun. their roots whispering secrets to one another through the soil. Even insects hum in rhythm, tiny witnesses to the empire of the giants. Each species is a sentence in the long poem of evolution. Each extinction, a comma, each birth, a new verse. Take a slow breath. Imagine the air of that time entering your lungs rich, humid, almost sweet. You can feel the pulse of a living planet under your bare feet. The horizon is endless. The colors are deeper, sky like molten copper, leaves glistening with dew that smells faintly of salt and ash. This is the earth in full bloom, no longer recovering but thriving. In these jungles, survival was not cruelty but harmony. Predator and prey danced in balance, bound by hunger and grace. Every chase was a dialogue between motion and silence. Every death became life again, bones dissolving into soil, feeding roots, feeding forests. The planet recycled everything, even beauty. Now, imagine standing in the middle of this. You look up. A dragonfly lands on your wrist, its wings trembling with light. The sound of cicadas hums like electricity through the air. You can hear the distant cry of a pterosaur echoing over cliffs of red stone. And though you are millions of years away from home, something in you recognizes it. It feels familiar, because you, too, are a child of this same design shaped by survival, by curiosity, by the same silent force that carved those giants from the dust. When you open your eyes in the present day, when you see a bird leap into the wind, or watch a lizard basking in the sun, you are still watching the Mesozoic. It never truly ended. It simply changed its form. The dinosaurs did not all vanish. They transformed. Feathers replaced scales, wings replaced claws. The great thunderous footsteps became small, rhythmic heartbeats beneath tiny chests. Life continues, wearing new faces. The scientists tell us this story with bones and equations, but the earth tells it differently in whispers of wind, in the songs of birds, in the shape of clouds that still move the way wings once did. The fossils are her handwriting, yes, but the living world is her voice. She is still speaking, still creating, still revising, still dreaming. And so, when we look back at the Mesozoic, we are not peering into a tomb. We are looking into a mirror. The same forces that moved through those ancient jungles move through us now: hunger, wonder, fear, love. We are the continuation of their story, the echo of their breath. So, breathe again, gently. The air around you has traveled through those ancient lungs. The molecules you exhale tonight will someday feed another life, somewhere, somehow. The circle remains unbroken. The Mesozoic world, the world of giants, of thunder, of beauty, was never truly gone. It lives within you, within every tree that bends towards sunlight, every bird that takes flight at dawn. The earth remembers, and in her remembering, you are alive. There is a question that lingers quietly in the mind after visiting the world of the Mesozoic. Why was everything so vast? Why did life decide to stretch itself toward the impossible wings, the length of a house, necks like bridges, hearts that beat louder than thunder? What was the earth trying to say through the language of sighs? Perhaps greatness was her way of remembering that she could. After the silence of extinction, maybe the planet needed to speak in volume again to fill the void with magnitude. Each colossal creature was a declaration. I am alive once more. Each forest, each reef, each claw and feather was a song of return. Take a slow breath. Inhale as if you could draw in the weight of that era, the gravity of it, the enormity of every heartbeat. Exhale and imagine letting it go, letting all that power turn into calm. There's something sacred in both gestures, the rise and the release. Nature, it seems, does not measure by efficiency alone. She measures by feeling. When she dreams of a creature, she asks not what is needed, but what is possible. And in the Mesozoic, she dreamed without restraint. She sculpted leviathans from stone, balanced them upon 4 legs, and filled their veins with sunlight and oxygen. She gave wings to reptiles and taught them to sail above the jungles. She whispered into the sea, and the sea answered with monsters that shimmered like silver ghosts. It was as if life had decided to test the limits of wonder. But there is another way to see it, not as excess, but as faith. Because to grow large is to trust the world. A creature that weighs 50 tons must trust the ground to hold it, the air to cool it, the trees to feed it. Size, in that sense, is an act of surrender, a belief that existence will provide enough space for you to simply be. Maybe that's what the Mesozoic teaches, that abundance is not greed, but confidence, that the universe itself once believed in more. Sometimes I wonder if the Earth were conscious. Did she admire her own work? Did she look at a brachiosaur raising its head into the clouds and think, yes, this is what breath should look like? Did she marvel at the first flower that dared to bloom, so small and defiant against the giants? Perhaps beauty was her quiet rebellion against extinction. To create again, knowing that it might all vanish, is the bravest act of all. Now pause for a moment. Notice your own breath again, your chest rising and falling a small motion, yet it contains the same pattern as tides, as the orbit of the moon, as the beating of every creature's heart. You are smaller than any dinosaur, yet your rhythm is the same. You are their continuation, the universe remembering itself in miniature. Maybe that is the meaning of scale. Not to impress, but to remind, to show that everything, large or small, is made of the same motion. The giant and the atom are one design repeated in different languages. The difference is only tempo. One moves fast, the other slow, but the music is identical. In the stillness of night, when we look at the stars, we feel something similar. The sky is enormous, and yet somehow it feels intimate. It calls to something in us that already knows its pattern. The dinosaurs once looked at that same sky, or something close to it. They didn't name the constellations, but they knew the light. They lived beneath it, moved by its rhythm, warmed by the same sun that warms you now. And that connection across millions of years is not symbolic. It is literal. The photons that touch their skin touch yours too. The sun remembers all its children equally. Perhaps this is the lesson hidden in the age of giants. To remember that we live inside something that is always trying to outgrow its own boundaries. Every seed becomes a tree. Every river carves a canyon. Every spark of life reaches outward until it finds what it was meant to touch. And every creature, no matter its size, reflects the same longing to exist fully, even if only for a moment. The dinosaurs lived not for eternity, but for intensity. They did not measure their days, only their presence. And maybe that is why they seem so alive. Even in stone, their bones hum with memory, as if the planet itself still feels their weight. What, then, do we do with this knowledge? We, who are small and fragile, who live in hours instead of eons? Maybe the point is not to grow larger, but to grow deeper. To let our awareness expand the way the Earth once did, quietly, patiently, without fear. The Mesozoic reminds us that life thrives when it trusts its own potential. That to exist is to explore, not to contain. Some say that meaning lies in survival, but maybe it lies in expression, in the courage to exist beautifully, even briefly. The dinosaurs did not know they would vanish, just as we do not know when our own story ends. Yet they lived completely, as if the world were enough. And perhaps that is all we are asked to do, to live with that same fullness, that same faith in the planet that holds us. Breathe again, in and out. Feel the smallness of your lungs and the vastness of the air around you. Both are necessary. Both complete the circle. If you could listen closely enough, you might hear the echo of those ancient lungs exhaling still, mingled with your own breath. The earth never stopped breathing. She only changed form. So tonight, let go of the need to measure yourself against anything. You are neither too small nor too large. You are exactly as vast as you need to be. Every heartbeat you feel right now belongs to the same orchestra that once shook the ground beneath thunder lizards. The music has not ended. It has only changed instruments. And maybe, if you fall asleep soon, the dream waiting for you will not be random at all. Maybe it will be the earth, still dreaming through you. Dreaming of wings, of forests, of oceans, of endless beginnings, dreaming of itself alive, again and again. Be still for a moment. You've traveled far already across oceans of time, through forests that no longer exist, beneath skies that once glowed green with ancient storms. But now, pause. Let the wind of that age settle around you. Let the silence of the present wrap itself over it, like a soft blanket of now. Inhale, exhale. You're here suspended between past and present, between dream and memory. The story has been long, but the earth has always been longer, and she remembers everything. Maybe you can feel it, that quiet pulse beneath the ground. It's not imagination. It's the same rhythm that has guided this planet for 4.5 billion years. The same slow heartbeat that once rocked the dinosaurs to sleep under fern canopies now rocks you. It hums through floorboards, through stone, through the soft air of your room. If you listen closely enough, it begins to align with your own. That's the strange thing about deep stories like this one. Somewhere along the way, you stop just hearing them and start remembering them. It's as though part of you already knew the Mesozoic, already walked through its rain, already breathed its thick, sweet air. Because in a way, you did. The minerals in your bones were forged in those same volcanoes. The water in your veins has flowed through those same oceans. The oxygen filling your lungs was first taught to exist by the trees of that time. You are not a spectator to Earth's history. You are its continuation. So, as you rest here, maybe in the dark, maybe under a soft light, take this moment to feel your own weight against the planet. Not as burden, but as belonging. The ground beneath you does not resist. It carries you. It has been doing that for everything that ever lived, from the smallest trilobite to the largest sauropod, from feathered bird to dreaming human. If you place your palm against the floor, imagine for a second that the earth feels it, that somewhere, beneath layers of stone, she knows you are here. Your warmth, your heartbeat, your stillness, all added to the archive of her memory. A tiny note in an eternal melody. Maybe that's what listening to stories like this really is, not entertainment, but remembrance. A kind of meditation that allows the planet to whisper back to you through time. And in that whisper, she says, you belong here. You always have. When was the last time you felt that sense of belonging? Not to a city or a family, or even a country, but to existence itself? It's easy to forget. We live in buildings, surrounded by clocks and glass, insulated from the slow patience of the world. But outside, beneath the pavement and roots, that memory never fades. Every tree still remembers how to bend with the wind. Every river remembers its original course, even if humans have redirected it. And the earth remembers you the way sunlight remembers the face it once touched. Close your eyes again. There's no rush. You can hear your own breath, slow, steady, ancient. Try to trace it backward in time. The air entering your lungs now might have passed through a forest in Brazil yesterday, through a whale's lungs a month ago, through the leaves of a Jurassic cycad eons ago. Every inhale is a reunion. Every exhale is a contribution to the next memory of the planet. The earth does not divide the living from the dead the way we do. To her, everything is motion. The same atoms dance in new patterns, endlessly shifting partners. You, yes, you are made of the same stardust that once shimmered in the eyes of a creature now fossilized. And one day, far from now, someone else will breathe in a trace of you, not knowing it, but feeling it all the same. That's how memory travels in the language of matter. Take another deep breath, slowly. Let it fill your chest. Hold it for a heartbeat, then release. That pause between inhale and exhale, that stillness, that's where time folds. That's where everything meets, past, present, and what has yet to be. Sometimes we think of memory as something that lives in the brain, but the earth teaches otherwise. Memory lives in texture, in echo, in repetition. The shape of a mountain mirrors the wave that carved it. The spiral of a shell repeats the shape of galaxies. The curl of your fingerprint resembles the swirl of ancient tides. Patterns repeat because they are sacred, the universe's way of saying, I remember. And so does the earth. She remembers the warmth of her own fire, the chill of her own ice, the touch of every creature that ever called her home. You are part of that vast remembering right now. Each thought you have, each breath you take, is another mark added to her living archive. You don't need to prove your worth to belong here. You don't need to achieve, or conquer, or even understand. You already are part of the pattern, the quiet pulse between ages. The same dust that once built mountains now shapes the lines of your face. The same light that once painted fern leaves green now illuminates your eyes. There is no separation, only continuity disguised as individuality. So tonight, don't worry if sleep takes you before this story ends. The earth doesn't mind. She will keep telling it through the rhythm of waves, the hum of wind, the quiet ticking of stars. You'll continue listening, even in dreams, because the part of you that hears this, the ancient part, never really stops listening. Let yourself rest now. The planet has been turning for billions of years without your help. You can let go for a while. The story will wait. It has always waited. It has time, infinite time. And as you drift towards sleep, imagine this. You are lying not on a bed, but on the very skin of the earth. Her heartbeat hums through the floor. Her breath moves through the air. Her memory wraps around you like warmth. You are home. The Mesozoic was never gone. It's still in your breath. The earth's memory is not behind you. It's beneath you. And as you fall asleep, she whispers softly through the floor, through the air, through your dreams. I remember you. You were here before. You are here still. You will be here again. The earth, for all her vastness, keeps her secrets well. We have dug into her bones, mapped her skin, measured her heartbeat through seismographs and satellites. And yet, she remains partly unknown, a mystery wrapped not in distance, but in time. There are questions we ask her, and she answers softly, incompletely, as if to remind us that knowledge, too, must have humility. Science, for all its brilliance, is a candle in a cavern. It lights the rock nearest to us, the stalactites overhead, the glimmer of dust swirling in the air. But beyond the circle of that light, darkness stretches not hostile, just infinite. And somewhere in that darkness, the Mesozoic still breathes. Think of the fossils, fragments of lives scattered like punctuation across stone. We find the bones, we measure, we reconstruct, we guess. But we don't hear the sound of their voices. We don't know the exact colors of their scales, the rhythm of their hearts, the taste of the air they breathed. We imagine, and perhaps that's the truest form of science there is, disciplined imagination. We call them reptiles, but maybe they were more. Creatures of warmth and nuance, social in ways we have yet to decode. We see their footprints in mud turned to stone, but a footprint is not a life. It's a whisper, not a sentence. And so, every discovery remains half a conversation. Sometimes, late at night, I think about all that remains hidden beneath us, layers of time folded away, unspoken, entire species that lived and died, leaving no trace, worlds erased by pressure and chance. If the earth is a book, then most of its pages have been burned, rewritten, or turned invisible. We are left to read only the margins, the words that escape the fire. And still, we keep reading. We keep asking, because curiosity is our oldest instinct. It's how we honor what we don't understand. Take a slow breath. Let it fill your lungs. You are, in this moment, doing something that every scientist, philosopher, and dreamer has done since the beginning, pausing to listen for the silence between facts. That space, that quiet uncertainty, is not ignorance. It is invitation. Maybe that's why the earth withholds some answers not out of cruelty, but out of kindness. Because mystery gives meaning. If we knew everything, we would stop asking. And if we stopped asking, we would stop seeing. There are still debates among scientists. Was it the meteor, the volcanoes, or something subtler that ended the age of giants? Why did birds survive when others did not? How did flowers suddenly appear, transforming the planet's face? The evidence whispers many things, but never in unison. The earth prefers a chorus to a single voice. And that, perhaps, is her genius. She teaches us that truth is not a monument, it's a movement. It shifts like continents, flows like rivers, adapts like wings. Even the laws of physics are written in the language of flexibility. Everything changes, even the constants, slowly, gracefully, beyond the reach of our immediate senses. Our telescopes and microscopes are the modern temples of curiosity. Through them, we see patterns, the chemistry of ancient air, the isotopes that mark volcanic winters, the fingerprints of vanished suns. But beneath those patterns lies something unspeakable, the feeling of awe, the recognition that we are not decoding the universe, we are being invited into it. And so we debate meteor or magma, chance or design, randomness or rhythm. But maybe the truth is softer, quieter, older. Maybe it's all of them at once, intertwined like roots beneath the surface. The Earth never thought in binaries. She thought in circles. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the night sky as it was 66 million years ago. No satellites, no human light, just stars sharp, white, endless. Somewhere among them, a stone began its long journey toward Earth, a fragment of cosmic accident or intention spinning through the dark. It took millions of years to arrive, a single heartbeat in planetary time. When it finally touched the atmosphere, the sky became brighter than day, and then silence. A silence so complete that even memory trembled. We know this event as data, as iridium and ash, as layers in stone, but we don't know what it felt like, what it meant. Did the Earth flinch, or did she simply exhale and begin again? Did she mourn, or was she only changing her form, as she always has? Science can tell us what happened. It cannot tell us why, for why belongs to the realm of story to the heart, not the microscope. It's not that the Earth refuses explanation, it's that she contains too many at once, each correct, each incomplete. And maybe that's the lesson, that truth is not something we own. It's something we approach humbly, curiously, endlessly, like standing on a shoreline, watching waves you cannot count, knowing each one is both familiar and new. So, tonight, if you feel the gentle ache of not knowing, the soft tug of curiosity without resolution, don't push it away. That ache is the pulse of life itself. It's the same pulse that moved the first creatures from sea to land, the same one that lifted wings into the air. The desire to understand is the continuation of creation. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out. You're part of that same process, the mind of the universe waking up, one question at a time. Knowledge, myth, silence, doubt, they're not enemies. They're four directions on the same compass. And if you let them, they'll lead you deeper into the mystery, not to solve it, but to dwell in it peacefully. The Earth doesn't demand certainty from you. She only asks that you stay curious, to look up at the night sky and wonder what else is waiting to be known or remembered. Because even now, beneath your feet, she's still speaking, not in words, but in warmth, in gravity, in the hum of time itself. And if you listen closely enough, between your own heartbeats, you might hear her say, "You do not need to know everything to belong here. It is enough that you ask." Imagine this. You open your eyes to a light that has never seen electricity. The sun is low, honey gold, filtering through a canopy of fern and conifer. The air shimmers heavy, fragrant, thick with the scent of sap and water and something older than language. It is morning in the Jurassic. You rise slowly, quietly, and the first sound you hear is the world breathing. Leaves rustle, deep and layered. Somewhere nearby, a river murmurs, soft against stones that glisten with dew. A breeze passes through, warm and damp, and every droplet of mist catches the light like tiny stars reborn. The Earth feels alive, not metaphorically, but truly breathing beneath your feet. You take a step, and the ground gives slightly, spongy, with centuries of fallen leaves. It smells of life and death mixed into one, decay turning to soil, soil turning to growth. Every footstep you make seems to echo softly through time. Somewhere far off, a low call rumbles deep, slow, and resonant, like the hum of distant thunder. The forest answers with silence. Even the wind seems to pause, listening. Then movement. A branch shifts, not from the wind, but from something vast and unseen. You look up, the treetops sway, and through the shifting green, you glimpse it, the long neck of a brachiosaurus, rising higher than the tallest cedar. Its skin glows faintly in the light, the color of rain-washed stone. Each breath it takes is a whisper of fog. You can feel its exhale ripple through the air like a warm tide. It lowers its head, eyes enormous and gentle, regarding you not with curiosity or fear, but calm indifference, the peace of something that has never known hurry. It blinks once, slow as twilight, and the ground trembles as it takes a step. A leaf falls from above, lands softly on your shoulder, and for a moment you realize this is the same gravity that once pulled oceans, the same wind that shaped continents, the same light that still finds your window each morning. Above, the sky is a blue you've never seen before, deeper, greener, alive. A flock of small pterosaurs darts through it, their wings catching the light like silver ribbons. They chirp softly, playful, circling one another before vanishing into the mist. And far away, somewhere beyond the valley, another sound rises, a long, hollow cry, echoing across ridges. It's not threatening, it's communication, the language of giants. You realize you are surrounded not by monsters, but by a world that speaks slowly, in the dialect of patience. You continue walking. The forest thickens. The trees grow older, wider, their roots curling like sleeping serpents. Ferns brush against your legs, wet and cool. Insects hum, their wings glimmering like fragments of glass. One lands briefly on your hand, its eyes mirror the green of the canopy, its breath invisible. For a second, you see eternity in miniature. You reach a clearing. Sunlight spills in like liquid fire, filling the space with warmth. The air vibrates with life. Tiny lizards scurry across moss-covered logs. Frogs the size of stones croak lazily from the edges of shallow pools. A dragonfly drifts past, its wings longer than your fingers. And on the far side of the clearing, a family of stegosaurs moves slowly through the ferns, great plates of bone catching the sunlight, tails swaying gently behind. Their movements are steady, rhythmic, almost ceremonial. They feed without rush, their world measured in heartbeats too vast for clocks. Time feels different here. It stretches, melts, becomes something circular. There is no before, no after, only now. Even the shadows move slowly, as if reluctant to leave. You kneel beside the pool. The water is clear, cool, alive with tiny movements, shimmering threads of fish weaving through the sunlight. You cup your hands and lift a little to your lips. It tastes pure, sharp with minerals and mystery. As you drink, you realize you are tasting the future. This water will someday rise into clouds, fall as rain, flow through rivers, and one day, perhaps, reach your own century. In this single sip, time is circular again. A soft rumble stirs behind you, not warning, just presence. You turn and see a smaller creature, perhaps an early theropod, its eyes bright with intelligence. Feathers faint along its arms. It pauses, studying you. There's curiosity in its face, as though it, too, cannot quite understand what you are. For a breathless moment, two species meet, both children of the same planet, separated by millions of years but sharing the same air. You bow your head slightly, an instinctive gesture of peace. The creature tilts its head, blinks, then turns away. Its tail disappears between the trees like a brushstroke across canvas. And just like that, the forest exhales again. The light shifts, golden now, falling lower. The air cools. Somewhere, a chorus begins the evening calls of unseen birds, insects, and reptiles blending into one vast hum. You sit on a fallen log and listen. Each sound is distinct, yet part of a single pattern, the great pulse of life, rising and falling, unending. You feel it in your chest, in your fingertips, in your breath. You are no longer an observer. You are part of it. The sun sinks behind the hills, leaving streaks of crimson and violet in the sky. Mist curls along the ground. The dinosaurs begin to settle. Even the great sauropod you saw earlier has knelt, folding its massive legs beneath it, eyes closing as stars begin to appear above. Night arrives not with darkness, but with softness, a velvet descent of calm. You lie back on the grass, the earth warm beneath you. Above, the stars glimmer through a thin veil of cloud, the same stars that will one day guide sailors, lovers, and dreamers. The constellations are nameless, but familiar. You could swear that one of them looks like a spiral shell, another like a wing in flight. Perhaps the universe remembers too. Breathe. The night is alive, but gentle. Somewhere far away, a volcano glows faintly on the horizon, the Earth's slow heartbeat visible through smoke. Crickets of another age sing softly in the dark. The air cools further, settling into balance. And there, in that balance between heat and cold, sound and silence, past and present, you understand something wordless, that the Earth was never just scenery. It has always been a living mind, dreaming through everything that moves, everything that rests. You, the listener, are part of that dream, awake, yet half asleep, breathing in rhythm with a planet that never stopped imagining life. As your eyes grow heavy, the forest fades to shadow. The last sound you hear is the steady breath of the great beasts sleeping nearby, the sound of peace, ancient and enormous. And somewhere, just before sleep takes you completely, you hear the whisper again. You were here once, you are here still. The night in the Jurassic forest fades. The stars still glow, faint and far, but dawn waits, a slow bloom of light, stretching over the edge of the world. And as the darkness retreats, the earth reveals her brushstrokes. You can see them everywhere, in the curve of the river, in the layers of stone glowing red with sunrise, in the shapes of clouds painted by the early wind. It's as though the planet itself has spent the night painting, erasing, and painting again. Every volcano, every storm, every seed part of one endless act of creation. That's how the earth works. Not as an engineer, but as an artist. Her medium is time, her canvas, everything. Where humans build to preserve, she builds to transform. Her art is not meant to last, it's meant to move. She paints in erosion and fire, in growth and collapse, in silence and thunder. And the masterpiece she makes is always unfinished, always changing, always alive. You could say that every mountain is a sculpture of her patience, every ocean a gallery of her moods, every creature a brushstroke fleeting, necessary, part of a larger composition we will never fully see. Take a breath now, slowly. The air that fills your lungs is part of her palette. It has passed through stone, through roots, through the skin of ancient oceans. Each inhale, a mixture of countless lives. Each exhale, a contribution to the next creation. Even breathing is a kind of painting. In the Mesozoic, her brush moved boldly. She was fearless, working with scale, contrast, drama. Volcanoes erupted like strokes of crimson oil across her vast, molten canvas. Continents split like pages being turned. The oceans glowed with phosphorescent ink, galaxies of light swirling beneath the waves. She carved canyons with rivers and filled them with green. She built forests the size of nations, sculpted creatures that touched the sky. And when she was done, when the colors began to blur, when the balance tilted too far, she lifted her hand and wiped part of it away. Not out of anger, out of rhythm. Every artist knows when a canvas must be cleared to make room for something new. For the earth, that act of erasure is not cruelty. It is renewal. When she destroys, she is not ending. She is beginning again, refining, reimagining. Perhaps extinction is her way of breathing. An inhale, a creation. An exhale, a release. The cycle continues, brushstroke, pause, brushstroke. We humans call it catastrophe. She calls it movement. Think of the meteor that ended the Cretaceous. In human eyes, it was tragedy, the fall of the mighty, the end of an age. But to the earth, it was a transition, a sudden shift in palette, a burst of light across the painting. Ash filled the sky, yes, but in that ash, new minerals formed. The dust cooled the planet, yes, but that chill gave mammals their chance to rise. From death, she drew new lines of possibility. From silence, she composed another song. Creation and destruction, two notes, one melody. Like the inhale and exhale that sustain you, one cannot exist without the other. The secret of beauty is balance, and the earth knows this better than anyone. Now imagine her at work not as a goddess, but as a patient hand shaping eternity. She touches the crust with lava, blending color and shadow. She dips mountains into the sea to soften their edges. She breathes wind across deserts, turning dunes into waves. Her art is fast, but her gesture is gentle. Even earthquakes are part of her rhythm, the shiver of a living canvas stretching itself after a long rest. And you, listening here tonight, are one of her details, a shimmer of light along the edge of her masterpiece. You are made of her pigments, iron from her core, calcium from her oceans, carbon from her breath. When you think, when you love, when you dream, that is her creativity echoing through you. You are the art, looking back at the artist. Take another breath. Feel how stillness moves through you, like wind through tall grass. This too is her doing the stillness between creation and collapse. The pause before the next idea forms. Even the spaces between your thoughts belong to her rhythm. We often fear endings. We build monuments to outlast them, write words to defy them. But the earth has no such fear. She lets go freely, knowing that nothing is lost. The ash of a forest becomes the soil for another. The bones of the extinct become the minerals that build mountains. Even the ruins of civilizations return to dust, and from that dust, she starts anew. She is the painter who reuses every color. Maybe that's why her work feels sacred, not because it lasts, but because it never stops. It reminds us that beauty doesn't depend on permanence. That change is not the enemy of meaning. It is meaning. Every dawn replaces the last, yet the world never grows tired of light. Every death makes space for a birth. Every silence prepares the next sound. It is not tragedy, it is rhythm. Look around you now, even in this modern age. Erujuan still sculpts. Waves still carve. Forests still bloom and burn and bloom again. We are still living inside her moving gallery. Every sunset is her signature. Every thunderstorm, her applause. And when you close your eyes at night, she paints your dreams too. The colors of memory, the texture of sleep, the soft blending of yesterday and tomorrow, all her handiwork. Through you, her art continues. So, as you drift now toward rest, imagine her hands enormous, unseen, shaping your thoughts, smoothing their edges like clay. She's not taking anything from you. She's making space for something new. A new morning, a new version of you. Because just like her, you are both creator and creation. You too destroy and rebuild with every heartbreak, every breath, every dream. And every time you do, you are painting alongside her. Now let that thought soften you. The fear of endings dissolves when you realize that endings are simply transitions, brushstrokes blending into new shades. The world was never meant to stay the same, and neither were you. Inhale, exhale. That's the rhythm of the artist and her masterpiece, the earth and everything upon her. And as your breath slows, you might feel her whisper beneath it, quiet as the tide. I am still painting, and so are you. It begins, as endings often do, in silence. Not the silence of death, but the hush before dawn, the kind that holds its breath. The sun is low, casting long ribbons of amber across the plains. Mist drifts through the ferns. Dew clings to petals of the first flowers, trembling like stars about to fade. The air is warm, sweet, heavy with the scent of pine and sea salt. Above the horizon, clouds stretch like pale silk. The earth is calm, so calm that even the wind forgets to move. You are standing in a world that doesn't yet know its ending. A river curls nearby, smooth and slow, its surface catching the gold of the sky. Tiny insects dance above it, unaware that this light is the last of its kind. In the distance, the forest breathes, branches swaying, leaves whispering in a language older than fear. A pair of triceratops graze quietly by the water's edge. Their horns glint faintly, their eyes gentle, almost meditative. They move with the unhurried peace of creatures certain of tomorrow. Further away, a small flock of birds, true birds now, descendants of the feathered ones, rise from the trees, their wings cutting silver arcs through air thick with sunlight. Their song is soft, thin, almost hesitant. It sounds like hope, and high above, far beyond clouds, something else moves. But no one looks up. The earth continues her morning ritual, the rhythm she has practiced for millions of years. A tyrannosaurus appears at the edge of the clearing, massive, yet strangely elegant. Its steps are slow, deliberate. It lowers its head to drink from the river. Ripples shimmer outward, distorting the reflection of the sky. If you could freeze that moment, the creature, the water, the light, it would look like eternity. Everything is still balanced. Everything is perfect. And yet, change is already on its way. Far out over the ocean, a small point of light pierces the morning sky, a star where no star should be. It grows brighter, but gently, like the birth of another Sunday. No thunder, no fear, just brightness beautiful, almost sacred. For a few precious moments, it feels like the earth is being blessed. Birds pause mid-flight. The waves flatten as if listening. Even the insects stop their dance. The light grows, and the world glows with it gold, white, pure. It's not destruction yet. It's illumination. Then silence deepens. Not absence of sound, but the presence of something vast. A stillness so complete that it hums. And in that hum, you can feel the earth thinking, preparing, remembering that even endings are part of her design. The first wind arrives soft, curious. It bends the grass, lifts the ash of yesterday's fire, carries the scent of salt and ozone. Then another gust, stronger. The trees sway, leaves scatter. The river ripples harder now, breaking its perfect reflection. And from the horizon, a brightness too great for eyes unfurls not flame yet, but light made physical. The air vibrates. A moment later, the sound follows not a roar, but a chord, low and all-encompassing, as if the planet itself has struck a note no instrument could reach. You close your eyes. There is no panic here, only awe. The earth is not dying, she is transforming again. Each breath of wind carries both heat and renewal. Every falling tree becomes a seed of what will come next. Even as the sky darkens, even as clouds of ash begin to gather, there's a strange, peaceful beauty to it. Animals move, some flee, some freeze, some simply lift their heads, sensing what no language can describe. A pterosaur glides once through the trembling air, its wings glowing against the rising dust. For a heartbeat, it looks like a comet itself, one living, one falling. Then it vanishes into shadow. Ash begins to fall, not all at once gently, like snow. Each flake glows faintly, warm as it touches the ground. The light dims. The color of the world shifts from gold to grey to deep violet. Still, it is not terror, it is transition. The earth, ever the artist, has simply chosen a darker palette. Hours pass, though time has lost meaning. The air thickens. The sea withdraws, whispering to itself. And somewhere beneath your feet, you feel it, a low, steady pulse, the planet adjusting, breathing through the fire. Every sound blends into a single note. Wind, thunder, heartbeat, silence. If you listen closely, you can still hear the rhythm, faint but certain. It says, "This has happened before. It will happen again." It is not despair. It is continuity. Then, as dusk falls once more, yes, dusk, because even in chaos the cycle persists, the horizon glows red, not with fire now, but with memory. The ash drifts slower, the temperature falls, the noise subsides, and through the smoky haze, the first stars appear. They look down upon a changed world, but they do not judge. They have seen this before too. By nightfall, the fire's quiet, the air is cold. The earth sleeps again, not wounded, but resting. The survivors, small, hidden, waiting, breathe the new air. And in their breath, a new story begins. Above them, the sky has cleared just enough for the moon to show her pale face. She shines on mountains of ash, on silent rivers, on the sleeping remnants of what once was. But there, under the soot, life still hums, tiny hearts beating, roots stirring, seeds remembering how to grow. The planet exhales, and though everything has changed, the sound of that breath is the same as it ever was, slow, deep, infinite. In time, forests will return, birds will fill the air again, mammals will rise, and one day, a distant descendant of this night will stand under stars and wonder what came before, perhaps even tell this story as you are hearing it now, because the earth does not end. She transforms, She forgets nothing. She forgives everything. And when she sleeps, she dreams in color. Tonight, as you lie in your own darkness, know that this story, her story, still moves through you. You carry the ashes and the starlight of that last Cretaceous day. You are the continuation of her art. You are the breath after the silence. So rest now. The world turns, as it always has. And far beneath your quiet room, the earth hums softly, whispering through layers of time. Even the last light is only the first dawn, seen from the other side. Morning returns not to the Cretaceous, but to now. The world outside your window hums faintly, a distant car, a bird, a heartbeat that isn't yours. And yet, deep inside this morning, the memory of the Mesozoic still stirs. The ashes of those forests are part of the air you breathe. The calcium of those bones moves quietly in your own. Even the light that touches your face began its journey through the same sky that once saw the fall of the dinosaurs. Everything connects. That's not poetry, it's physics. But somehow, it feels like prayer. Science explains how the world moves. Philosophy asks why. Together, they form a conversation. One speaks with equations, the other with wonder. And between them lies understanding, like the calm between two waves. Take a slow breath. Inhale the rhythm of knowing, exhale the rhythm of not knowing. That's all the balance ever asks for. The scientists tell us. Continents drift, mountains rise, species emerge and fade. They map each process, trace each line, assign each name. And yet, when they finish drawing, what they've really captured is not the picture, but the pulse. Every law of nature is a confession of awe, written in numbers. Gravity is not merely force. It's longing, the desire of matter to return to itself. Light is not just radiation. It's memory, traveling endlessly through space, searching for something to touch. And time is the Earth's way of telling her own story, one revolution at a time. Philosophy doesn't contradict this. It listens to it. It leans in and whispers, if everything changes, then nothing is lost. If nothing is lost, then perhaps death is only a rearrangement. And if rearrangement is the law, then creation never ceases, it only shifts form, endlessly, beautifully. The two, science and philosophy, are not opposites. They are lungs. One inhales detail, the other exhales meaning. And together, they breathe the universe into coherence. Think of the fossil, that silent archive of the Mesozoic. Science tells us what it is: calcium phosphate, mineralization, the crystallization of organic matter over millions of years. Philosophy tells us what it means: a message from a world that trusted the earth enough to rest within her arms forever. Both are true. One touches the mind, the other the soul. The wonder lies not in choosing, but in hearing both voices at once. Now close your eyes again. Let me tell you a small truth disguised as a question. When you look at a rock, do you see stone or time compressed into silence? When you see a wave, do you see water or rhythm repeating itself into infinity? When you feel your heartbeat, do you hear a pump or the echo of every pulse that has ever existed before you? Science gives you the structure. Philosophy gives you the stillness to feel it. Together, they form the art of being awake. Even the simplest scientific truth, when spoken slowly enough, becomes a form of meditation. Carbon becomes diamond under pressure, a metaphor, if you wish to see it. Stars die to make iron another one. Oxygen binds to hydrogen to make water, the chemistry of compassion itself. And within that same water, life begins again and again. What is that, if not poetry written in molecules? When you listen to science with the heart, it stops sounding mechanical. It starts sounding alive. Each atom, each rule, each law, all part of a soft, unfolding logic that breathes. And when you listen to philosophy with the mind, it stops being abstract. It becomes architecture, something you can live inside. The world is not divided between knowing and feeling. It is built from their harmony. Knowledge without awe becomes noise. Awe without knowledge becomes fog. But when the two meet quietly, humbly, the result is music. Take another breath. Notice how the air moves through you, fills you, and leaves. That's how wisdom works too. It comes and goes, never owned, only experienced. The more tightly you try to hold it, the faster it escapes. But if you let it flow, it always returns. Perhaps that's what the earth has been teaching all along, that the greatest truths are not statements, but rhythms. Volcanoes erupt, then rest. Oceans rise, then recede. Species flourish, then fade. Every act of creation comes with a pause, and in that pause, something invisible grows. Philosophy calls it meaning. Science calls it process. The earth calls it breathing. Look back now at everything you've seen in this journey, the forests of the Triassic, the oceans of the Jurassic, the final light of the Cretaceous. Each age was both a laboratory and a poem. The data of geology is the diary of the divine. The laws of physics are the syntax of wonder. The fossils are punctuation marks in the planet's autobiography. And we are the footnotes, reading it in the quiet of night, still marveling at how a single planet learned to dream so beautifully. Maybe that's why we study the past, not to escape the present, but to understand what endures beneath it. Every scientific discovery is an act of devotion, even when the scientists don't call it that. Every philosophical question is an embrace of uncertainty. Even when it feels like doubt, they are both prayers, one spoken through instruments, the other through silence. And when we bring them together, the world finally sounds whole. Data and mystery, reason and reverence, fact and feeling, each a different language, telling the same story, that the earth is alive, and we are still learning to listen. So tonight, as the hum of this story fades, remember, you don't have to choose between knowing and feeling. You can walk with both, one hand holding curiosity, the other holding wonder. That's how balance is kept. That's how wisdom breathes. Inhale the science of the world. Exhale the poetry of it. That is harmony. That is home. Pause. No more history for a moment. No more questions or theories or even words. Just the sound of your own breath. In and out. That's it. That's all the earth has ever done. That's all the stars have ever done. Expand, contract, shine, rest, exist. Remember, when you breathe in, you draw the whole planet inward, oceans, trees, clouds, dust, light, all of it gathered, held. When you breathe out, you give it back, softened, changed. It's not metaphor, it's exchange. Every inhale is a taking in of time. Every exhale is a returning. You are part of a rhythm so vast that it doesn't even need your awareness. And yet, when you notice it, when you feel yourself breathing in sync with the earth, everything else starts to quiet. Listen. Do you hear it? A low hum, steady and endless, the sound of your own pulse. Behind it, a softer hum, the electricity of the room, the air moving, the faintest vibration in the walls. And beneath even that, something slower, the turning of the planet itself. It's imperceptible, but it's there. The floor beneath you is not still. It's drifting, almost imperceptibly, eastward. The earth spins, you breathe. The two motions become one. Let your body be heavy. Let gravity hold you. She's been holding everything since the first grain of dust began to swirl into a world. You don't have to resist her. You don't have to try. The ground beneath you is old enough, patient enough, strong enough. You can rest. The pause between worlds is not emptiness. It's fullness waiting to speak. When the volcano sleeps, it's dreaming of rivers. When the seed is still, it's remembering the pattern of sunlight. When you are quiet, you are listening to the universe remember itself through you. Inhale again, slow, deeper this time. Notice the cool air brushing the inside of your nose, spreading into your lungs. Feel the chest lift. Then hold. A heartbeat, two, and exhale. Let it go, like a tide leaving the shore. If you listen close enough, the boundary between your body and the room begins to blur. You are not sitting in the air, you are part of it. You are not resting on the earth, you are resting within it. The pause between worlds is the space where separation disappears. Now imagine this pause as a landscape, not a place you must travel to, a place that's already inside you, a plain of silver mist, stretching endlessly in every direction. No sound except a faint vibration, the heartbeat of time. Above, stars drift slowly, their light moving like dust through water. You can walk here, but your steps make no sound. You can breathe here, but the air feels eternal, cool, and infinite. This is the same pause the Earth takes between ages, between the fall of one species and the rise of another, between one heartbeat and the next, between the end of fire and the return of green. The planet rests. You rest with it, and in that stillness, nothing is required of you. Not to understand, not to decide, not to achieve, just to be. Maybe this is what the Mesozoic taught, without ever speaking, that even the most magnificent age of life must sleep. That rest is not the opposite of creation, but its foundation, that without silence, sound cannot begin. You can feel that truth in your own body now, the way your breath slows when you stop thinking about it, the way your heart knows its rhythm without instruction. You are made of systems that trust themselves. The universe built you with confidence. You are not fragile. You are ongoing. Let that realization settle into your bones. Each cell inside you is older than language, carrying instructions written in the same script as coral and ferns and trilobites. You don't need to rewrite them. They already know how to live, how to rest, how to renew. The pause between worlds is the breath between thoughts, the stillness between heartbeats, the moment before dawn. It's the quiet that makes everything possible. Without it, there is no song, no movement, no memory. Outside, perhaps it's night, perhaps it's raining, perhaps the city hums in the distance. All of that is still part of this pause. The world does not stop. It simply shifts tempo. You are not escaping the world. You are listening to its softer rhythm. The trees outside your window are breathing too. Each leaf opens and closes in microscopic rhythm. Each root hums faintly in the dark. Even the soil exhales gases, soft as whispers. The planet is one great lung, and you are breathing with it. Let that image carry you. A living earth, inhaling and exhaling through oceans, clouds, creatures, and stars. Each of us a cell in that infinite lung, each of us a moment in that endless breath. Now, as your body grows heavier, feel the warmth in your chest expand outward to your shoulders, your arms, your fingers, your skin. Feel how the tension dissolves, like sand washing away beneath the tide. There is no boundary now between you and everything else. Only rhythm, only breath, only the quiet pulse of existence. This is the pause between worlds. It's not a place to reach, but a truth to remember. It's the same pause the earth takes every time she changes. After eruption, before renewal. After ending, before beginning. It's where creation waits, perfectly still. Stay here for a while. Nothing will demand your name. No thought will rush in. You can stay until your breath becomes the only language that matters. In and out. The sound of belonging. The hum of deep time. The silence that sings the universe to sleep. And when you're ready, not now, not yet, but someday soon, you'll open your eyes, and the world will still be there. Changed a little perhaps, but still turning, still breathing, still carrying you. Because the pause between worlds never truly ends. It simply folds itself into the next heartbeat, the next dawn, the next dream. And you are already part of it. When you have traveled this far through time, through ash and forest, through birth and silence, something inside you changes. You begin to sense that everything you've seen, the mountains, the creatures, the stars, has been speaking one single sentence, again and again, in 1,000 different dialects. Everything connects. That's it. That's the thread. And now, in this quiet hour, it's time to weave it together. The scientists call it evolution. The poets call it memory. The philosophers call it being. But they are all describing the same current, the invisible motion that runs beneath everything. It began in fire. Not metaphorical, but real. A young planet swirling with molten breath, cradled by the gravity of an unremarkable star. From that fire came stone. From stone, oceans. From oceans, chemistry. From chemistry, life. From life, thought. And from thought, wonder. The earth learned to look at herself through us. We are her mirrors, the part of her consciousness that asks, "What am I?" Every question we've ever asked, every theory, every myth, every whisper to the stars, has been her reflection, trying to remember her own face. Take a slow breath. Let it move through you like wind through an ancient forest. That, too, is part of the weaving. The Mesozoic forests breathed for millions of years so that you could take this single inhale. You are borrowing air from eternity. Now exhale. Return it gently. It will continue its journey, through leaves, through oceans, through future lives not yet imagined. That, too, is connection. The scientists tell us carbon cycles through rock and rain, water through air and cloud, light through leaf and eye. Matter is neither created nor destroyed. It only transforms. And the philosophers nod quietly, because they know that the same is true for meaning. No thought ever truly dies. It merely changes form. An idea in one century becomes a feeling in another. A question becomes a myth becomes a discovery. Everything is a translation of everything else. And somewhere inside that web, you exist. A fragment of time folded into skin, a brief chapter in the autobiography of the cosmos. Sometimes we think of ourselves as separate, as observers, outsiders, visitors to the earth. But perhaps that's the last illusion. You are not living on the planet. You are living through it, and it through you. You and the earth share a nervous system. Her rivers are your blood. Her tectonic drift is your heartbeat slowed to eons. Her storms are your emotions written in air. Every sigh, every tear, every pulse of joy, echoes of her deep geological language. And what of destruction? What of the fire, the impact, the ending? Were those mistakes, tragedies, failures, or were they simply part of the rhythm, the darker threads that give the tapestry depth? Without shadow, there is no shape. Without silence, no song. The comet that ended the Age of Giants was not punishment. It was punctuation. It marked the breath between chapters, and from its ash mammals rose. Forests returned, and eventually, so did we. Fragile, curious, full of questions and light. That's how the earth weaves, with contrast, not perfection. Her beauty lies not in stillness, but in her ability to move, to adapt, to forgive. She is both scar and healing, both wound and wonder, both grave and cradle. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine her weaving, not with hands, but with time, each second a thread, each heartbeat, each extinction, each birth, a color. She doesn't hurry. She never unravels. Even when one thread burns, she uses the ash to darken the next. It's all part of the pattern. And what does the pattern show? If you step back far enough, beyond fear, beyond questions, beyond names, it looks like light. Not perfect light, but living light. The kind that flickers and breathes, the kind that belongs to stars and souls alike. It is the texture of existence itself. That's the thread you've been following since the beginning of this story. From the volcanic dawn of the Triassic, to the breathing forests of the Jurassic, to the quiet ashes of the Cretaceous night. You have been tracing that light through form after form. Now, it has led you here, to this still moment, where everything folds together. Look at what you've gathered. The science precise, patient, humble. The myth wild, radiant, human. The philosophy soft, questioning, kind. Each one true in its own way. Each one a thread in the same design. The earth never asked them to compete. She only asked them to coexist, as wind and water do, as night and day, as logic and dream. Take another breath. You are breathing through all three languages at once. Your body follows science, your heart follows myth, your mind follows philosophy. Together, they make you whole. Perhaps that's the secret the earth has been keeping all along, that harmony doesn't come from choosing sides, but from letting opposites dance. The scientist measures the heartbeat of a volcano, the philosopher feels its patience, the poet hears it sing, and the planet smiles. because they are all right. There's a wordless comfort in that realization. It means you don't have to know everything. You don't have to solve the mystery. You only have to participate in it, to breathe, to wonder, to notice the light falling across your hands. That's the gentle wisdom of the earth. Participation is enough. You don't have to invent meaning. You are made of it. You don't have to chase beauty. You are surrounded by it. You don't have to fear change. You are change, moment to moment, cell to cell, breath to breath. And when you forget, the earth will remind you, in the smell of rain, in the warmth of morning, in the quiet persistence of roots beneath your feet. She whispers through everything ordinary, turning the simple into sacred. Now, let all the pieces settle. The volcanoes, the oceans, the dinosaurs, the myths, the science, the silence. Let them rest in one single image, a vast, living tapestry stretching from the birth of the world to this very breath. You are standing inside it. You are woven into it. You are not separate from its story. You are its continuation. Maybe that's what eternity really means. Not endless time, but endless participation. Not living forever, but living fully in every moment the way the planet does. Aware, curious, forgiving. Take a slow inhale now, longer than before. Hold it. Feel how it stretches time just a little, and then release it, letting it leave gently, like a leaf floating down a quiet river. You've gathered the threads. You've seen the pattern, and soon you will rest. Not as an ending, but as a continuation of that same rhythm. The earth will keep weaving, and you will keep breathing, together, forever, in this quiet harmony. As sleep approaches, let her final whisper reach you, not in words, but in feeling. You were never apart from me. You are the thread, and the tapestry, and the hands that weave. There comes a moment in every long journey when you realize you are no longer walking forward. You are floating. The steps dissolve. The destination too. Only rhythm remains, the pulse of your own heart, steady as the turning of the world beneath you. You've crossed so many ages, Triassic fire, Jurassic rain, Cretaceous twilight, and each one has left a fingerprint on your breath. Now, all those breaths gather here, in this soft stillness that lies between story and silence. This is the final threshold, but it isn't an ending. It's the pause before the next beginning, the same pause the earth takes. Before sunrise spills across the horizon, before the tide turns, before a seed decides to break open, close your eyes. The world is quiet, but not empty. Even in this darkness, the planet hums, not loudly, but faithfully. A vibration deep and slow, the echo of magma shifting far beneath you, the pulse of gravity pulling everything inward, the sigh of wind that has touched every forest since the dawn of time. You are surrounded by continuity. Everything that has ever been still exists. Not gone, just rearranged. The dinosaurs you saw sleep now in the bones beneath your feet. The trees that shaded them are still whispering through the veins of modern leaves. The ocean that once shimmered with ammonites now reflects satellites and stars. The past never left. It just changed its shape. That's what it means to cross a threshold. You don't escape what was. You simply learn to see it differently. The scientists might call it transformation. The mystics might call it awakening. The earth just calls it breathing. Inhale. Feel the weight of everything you've carried. Exhale. Let it dissolve. All through this journey, the story has carried you forward. Through creation and destruction. Through science and myth. Through fire and silence. But now, the story itself begins to fade. Because the story has done its work. It has led you back to the beginning. To stillness. To breath. To belonging. This is where knowledge becomes peace. This is where curiosity becomes gratitude. Look around you not with eyes, but with the quiet part of your mind. The darkness isn't dark anymore. It glows faintly, softly, like the inside of a seashell held against the ear. Shapes move gently within it. Currents of memory, ribbons of light, the faint silhouettes of creatures long gone. But there is no sadness here, only recognition. You begin to realize that time itself has texture. It's not a straight line. It's woven, layered, shimmering. You can feel it brushing against you like silk in slow motion. Every second of the universe touches every other. You are touching the first dawn and the last sunset at the same time. It's hard to describe, isn't it? That sense that you are both here and everywhere, that your breath belongs to both the Jurassic wind and the morning breeze outside your window. It's overwhelming, and yet deeply calm. You've crossed into the space where opposites dissolve. Life and death. Past and future. Knowing and not knowing. All of it blending into one continuous hum. The sound of existence simply existing. This is what the Earth has been showing you all along. That creation never stops. It only changes rhythm. Every end contains the seed of its next beginning. Every silence is pregnant with the next sound. Even destruction, when seen from far enough away, is just the rearranging of beauty. Imagine now that you are standing at the edge of the world, not the world of maps, but the world of meaning. Before you, the horizon glows faintly. It isn't light or dark, it's both. It isn't tomorrow or yesterday. It's all time folded into one shimmering line. You take a step forward, and it's like walking into your own reflection. The air feels familiar, cool, luminous, almost liquid. It smells of rain and ash and new leaves. You recognize it, the breath of a planet that never stopped dreaming, the same breath that once filled the lungs of a brachiosaur, that cooled the feathers of the first bird, that will one day touch the face of someone yet unborn. Everything that has ever lived is still breathing somewhere. Nothing is gone. Nothing is wasted. The universe recycles even the smallest sigh. You realize now that your life, this tiny flicker of awareness, is not separate from the great unfolding. You are one note in an infinite song, and even when your sound fades, the melody continues, carrying your echo. Take a slow breath. The air moves in, the air moves out. That's the entire mystery, contained in one motion. The Earth does the same, inhaling continents, exhaling oceans, breathing in creation, exhaling memory. You and the planet share a rhythm older than language. Pause it again. You are crossing the final threshold, the moment where thought dissolves into feeling, where curiosity gives way to peace. You might feel a warmth now, somewhere near your chest, spreading outward, not heat, but belonging. It's as if the world itself were embracing you, and maybe, in some quiet way, she is. You can almost hear her voice, not as sound, but as resonance. You have seen what I have seen. You have heard what I have whispered. You are made of me, and I am made of you. There was never a distance. Oh, die. It's hard to tell if these words are hers or your own thoughts echoing back. But maybe it doesn't matter, because in this space, ownership dissolves. There is only communion, the meeting of breath and stone, of thought and time. And as that communion deepens, you begin to feel lighter. The weight of curiosity, of history, of self. It loosens, like dust lifted by a breeze. The journey that began in wonder ends in surrender. Not defeat, but completion. You don't need to know everything. You only need to know that you are part of everything. The Earth doesn't hurry you. She doesn't close the story with a period. She ends it the way she ends all things, with an inhale, a pause, and the soft promise of continuation. Far below your awareness, the molten heart of the planet still spins, slow and golden. Above, stars whisper their cold light into the dark. Between them, between sky and core, you rest, perfectly placed, a listener between worlds. And now, as your breathing slows, you begin to sense the threshold shifting again. The edges of the present blur. The story becomes dream. You are drifting between consciousness and sleep, between knowing and remembering. Everything is smooth, fluid, whole. Perhaps this is what the Earth feels when she turns from one era to the next. Not loss, not grief, just the peaceful surrender to change. Let that feeling carry you. Let it rock you, like the rhythm of waves against an eternal shore. Let it tell you what every age has known, what every forest has sung, that to live is to change is to belong, and to belong is to rest. So rest now. The world is turning beneath you, and you are turning with it, together, without effort, without fear. Somewhere, deep in the fabric of time, the Mesozoic sleeps, not vanished, but dreaming. Its breath mingles with yours, its heartbeat hums beneath the floor, and as you cross the final threshold, you realize that you, too, are part of that dream. The journey doesn't end here. It simply becomes softer, slower, until it feels like the very thing it has been describing all along, the Earth's endless, gentle transformation. Inhale the last light of memory. Exhale the first breath of tomorrow. You have crossed. The story has carried you across oceans of time, from the molten dawn of the Earth to the quiet breath of this moment. And now, at the edge of all things, the same question waits for you, like an old friend sitting beside a dying fire. Has the Earth ever stopped changing? You already know the answer. You can feel it in your chest, in the slow expansion of your lungs, in the rhythm that has guided your breath through every chapter. The answer isn't in words. It's in motion. It's in the warmth of your body, the pulse beneath your fingertips, the quiet hum of your own existence. The Earth never stopped. She only changed shape, and in her endless change, she found her stillness. Outside your window, the night is probably calm. A street light flickers. A tree sways. Somewhere, rain is falling not loudly, but steadily. Every drop that lands is part of the same rhythm that moved through the Jurassic swamps, that carved canyons in the Triassic deserts, that cooled the ashes of the Cretaceous sky. Even now, the same rain that once touched the scales of a dinosaur touches your window pane. The Earth remembers, always. But she doesn't remember like we do, not through stories or pictures or names. She remembers through movement, through the folding of stone, through the shifting of tides, through the patience of roots that keep reaching for light, even in the dark. That's her language motion as memory. And in that language, nothing is ever lost. Take a slow breath now. You've heard this rhythm before, but this time, listen not as a listener, but as part of it. When you inhale, you are not taking something from the Earth, you are joining her breath. When you exhale, you are not releasing something, you are returning it. This is the conversation that never ends. And if you sit very still, perfectly still, you might feel her answer to your question, not in sound, but in feeling. A quiet vibration beneath your spine, a sense that the floor beneath you is alive, that you are sitting on the back of something ancient and awake. She moves so slowly that to human eyes, she looks still. But beneath that stillness, mountains grow, rivers wander, continents drift, and life keeps inventing new ways to say, I am here. Well, that's how she speaks through metamorphosis, through evolution and erosion, through bloom and decay. She never stops changing, because change is her language of love. Creation is how she breathes. And if that's true for her, then it's true for you, too. You who are made of her minerals, her carbon, her light. You are her thought, made conscious. And so, like her, you are always becoming, always rearranging yourself into something new. You do not live on the Earth. You live as the Earth, in a temporary form. The fear of change begins to fade when you realize this. Endings stop looking like cliffs and start looking like doorways. Loss stops feeling like emptiness and starts feeling like space being made for something else to grow. So maybe the better question isn't, has the Earth stopped changing? But rather, could she? Would she ever want to? Every breath of wind says no. Every wave that collapses and reforms says no. Every sunrise, every heartbeat, every act of becoming, all of them say no. To stop changing would be to stop living, and the Earth has never known how to do that. Even now, while you sit here listening, her oceans are shifting temperature, her forests breathing in rhythm with the seasons, her magnetic field shimmering like an unseen aurora around her body. She moves through space like a dancer wrapped in her own gravity, elegant and quiet, but never still. If you could stand far enough away, say, from the edge of another galaxy, and look back at this small blue planet, you would see it pulsing with light. You would see clouds spiral like slow music. Continents drift like floating islands of memory. It would look alive, and it is. That is the true beauty of the earth. Not her mountains or her oceans or her creatures, but her movement, her refusal to stay the same, her faith in the cycle, the courage to end and begin again. And that same faith lives inside you. In your small personal seasons, the heartbreaks, the renewals, the quiet transformations that happen when no one else is watching. Every time you grow, every time you shed a version of yourself, you echo the same wisdom that moves through stone and sea. You are not separate from her rhythm. You are one of her verses. Maybe that's what the Mesozoic was all along. A verse in her song, a louder, more dramatic movement, followed by the soft decrescendo of silence. Now it's our verse, our chance to add melody before the next pause, to remember that everything we do, every creation, every kindness, every question, adds color to her ongoing masterpiece. The earth never needed perfection. She needed participation. And that's what you've done tonight. You've participated in her remembering by listening, by breathing, by feeling the weight of deep time press gently against the present moment. Take another breath, this one deeper than before. Let it remind you that you are part of something vast and patient. You are not outside history. You are history, alive, sentient, continuing. The question returns again, softer this time. Has the earth stopped changing? And somewhere deep in your chest, you feel the answer rise, not as words, but as a slow, quiet pulse. No, the earth changes in every atom, in every wind, in every sleeping thought of every creature she's ever made. Even now, she changes through you. When you think, she thinks. When you breathe, she breathes. When you sleep, she turns, keeping your dreams aligned with her orbit. Perhaps, then, the question was never meant to be answered. It was meant to be lived, because as long as the earth changes, as long as we keep asking, as long as we keep breathing, the story never truly ends. Outside, the night deepens. The stars shimmer in their quiet, ancient patterns. The same constellations that look down on the Mesozoic now gaze upon you. And maybe, if the earth dreams as we do, she is dreaming of this exact moment, of someone listening, breathing softly, remembering here. So, before sleep takes you, let her final message settle gently in your mind. Change is not something that happens to you. Change is what you are. You are made of motion. You are shaped by tides of time too deep to measure. And like the earth, you will keep changing, softly, beautifully, endlessly. Now, rest. The planet turns beneath you, carrying you through another quiet revolution. The same stars that shone on the dinosaurs will keep shining on you. The same breath that fed the first forests moves softly through your lungs. The same story continues, unbroken, infinite, tender. Let your eyelids grow heavy. Let the sound fade. Let the heartbeat of the earth guide you to sleep. And if you dream, may you dream of her, not as something ancient, but as something eternal, always changing, always becoming, always alive within you. You've made it here to the quiet at the edge of the story. And yet, it doesn't feel like an ending, does it? It feels like exhaling after a long, slow breath. The kind that fills every corner of you before it leaves. The kind that leaves peace behind. For a moment, let everything be still. The earth beneath you, the air above you, the slow rhythm of your heartbeat, all of it connected, one single pulse of belonging. The story began with a question, and it ends with silence, not because there is nothing left to say, but because you have heard enough to understand without words. The earth doesn't speak in sentences, she speaks in presence. And right now, she is here, beneath you, within you, through you, quietly holding you while you rest. The room around you may be small, a bed, a lamp, the distant hum of the world, but in this stillness, that small space opens like a universe. If you listen carefully, you can almost hear the slow breathing of continents, the soft rush of oceans moving in their sleep, the whisper of wind tracing the shape of forgotten mountains. They have all become part of your night. There's no need to move. No need to think. You are exactly where you are supposed to be. Every journey ends in stillness. Not because motion ceases, but because you finally learn to feel it without needing to chase it. Maybe that's why this channel exists, to give you a place where motion slows down enough for you to hear the rhythm beneath it. A space where curiosity becomes calm and knowledge becomes comfort, where science and wonder meet in the same breath. If you've found even a moment of quiet here, even a single heartbeat where the world felt lighter, then the story has done its work. And if you wish, you can stay. There will be more nights like this, more journeys into the folds of time, more whispers of history that sound like lullabies. All you have to do is return when the world feels too fast. This space will wait for you, like an old forest that remembers every footstep that ever passed through. But for now, don't worry about tomorrow. Don't think about screens, clocks, or obligations. Let the world be what it has always been. Vast, kind, patient. It will turn without your help. It always has. Take one last breath with me. Inhale slowly, as if drawing the horizon into your lung. Hold it, then exhale, letting everything drift away: the noise, the day, the distance. What remains is what has always been. Key at life, soft rhythm, belonging. You might feel, in this stillness, as if the whole planet is leaning closer, not to speak, but to listen with you, to share the silence it knows so well. In that shared quiet, you realize something simple and infinite. You are not apart from the world you've just heard about. You are the continuation of its breath, the echo of its dreaming. When the dinosaurs thundered, you were the iron in their blood. When the ferns reached toward the sun, you were the carbon in their leaves. When meteors fell, you were the atoms scattering into tomorrow. When stars were born, you were their light waiting to find eyes. Every story of the earth has always been, in some way, a story of you. That's the secret hidden between these sentences, that listening to the planet's past is another way of remembering your own origins. You have never been alone. You have always belonged to something wider than thought, older than words, gentler than understanding. Now the story has quieted. The earth is still turning. The oceans are still whispering their tides, and you are still breathing softly, evenly, the way the planet breathes when it sleeps. If you'd like, you can tell me where you are listening from. Maybe it's night where you are, maybe morning, maybe the rain taps against your window, maybe there's a soft glow from a city far away. Whatever surrounds you, it's all part of the same vast night we share. Leave a note if you wish. A country, a city, a time, and somewhere another listener will see it and realize they are not alone either. We are all scattered, but the earth gathers us through stories. That too is her art. And if you want to come back another night, to drift again through time, to hear the ocean of centuries breathing softly, you will find this space waiting, quietly, patiently, like the planet herself. Maybe next time, we'll descend into the deep sea, where light moves like memory through water, or we'll travel to the first forests, where insects learn to sing, or we'll look toward the stars and wonder whether life is the universe dreaming of itself. But not tonight. Tonight is for rest. The story has folded into silence now. The words are only echoes. Even this voice will soon fade. Not disappear, just soften into the hum of the world. And when it does, you will be alone with the most ancient sound there is, the sound of your own breathing. That sound is older than speech, older than species, older than time as we know it. It is the earth, speaking through you, so let it continue. Let the breath move in and out, slow and calm, until it becomes something you no longer need to notice. The body remembers. The world remembers. You can let go. Outside, night deepens, a silver thread drawn across the sky. The stars look down, steady, patient, endless. They have seen everything: the fires of creation, the extinctions, the small flickering lights of human cities. They watch without judgment, without urgency, simply shining because shining is what they do. And somewhere in that same patience, the earth turns once more. She carries you easily, a quiet passenger in her endless orbit. She doesn't mind your weight. She never has. To her, you are light. You are motion. You are part of the dream. So now rest. You've heard the story of her youth, the echo of her growing pains, the beauty of her endless change. You've carried it long enough. You can let it go. If your eyes are still open, let them close. If your thoughts still wander, let them drift. There is no need to hold on to anything. The earth is holding you, and as you slip towards sleep, you might hear, faintly, a whisper that belongs to no one and to everything. Thank you for listening. Thank you for remembering. I will keep changing, and I will wait for you here, in the quiet, when you are ready to return. The story ends, the only way all true stories do, with a breath, a pause, and a promise. Good night. May your dreams be gentle. May your mind rest like mountains. May your heart move like oceans. And may you wake tomorrow, still carrying a small piece of this peace inside you, the heartbeat of a living world that never stopped breathing. The world has gone quiet again. The earth, having told her story, exhales softly. You can almost hear it, a faint murmur through stone and soil, the low hum of a planet resting. But rest for her never means stillness. Even as she sleeps, she dreams. And in those dreams, the ocean calls. Close your eyes for a moment. Can you hear it? The low, endless rhythm. Not quite a voice, not quite silence, but something between. That's the ocean, speaking in her first language. If the Mesozoic was the Earth's youth, her wild season of thunder and flame, then the ocean is her memory, ancient and unbroken. Every story she has ever told ends here, folding back into salt and shadow. Every river that has ever carried life, every tear, every storm, all return to her depths. And it is there, beneath the shimmer of light, that the next journey begins. Imagine yourself standing on a quiet shore. The air is cool, touched with salt and moonlight. Waves arrive like slow breaths, rolling and retreating, each one whispering the same word, come. You step forward, feeling the sand give beneath your feet. It's cold, smooth, alive. A sheet of silver water slides over your toes and withdraws, then returns again, gentler, as if testing your trust. Overhead, the stars reflect in the surface, the second sky trembling. You can't tell which world is above and which is below. You take another step, then another. The water reaches your knees, your waist, your chest, and when it finally closes over you, the sound changes. The surface world fades. There are no words here, only vibration. Every sound is a feeling. Every feeling is a sound. The water holds you, not as something separate, but as something returning. Down here, gravity softens. Time stretches. Your body forgets its edges. You become fluid, weightless, whole. Around you, light moves differently, no longer direct but scattered, slow, like memory drifting through glass. Sunbeams turn into ribbons, shadows ripple like fabric. The colors shift, from silver to blue, from blue to indigo, from indigo to a deep green that feels like forever. Fish glide past silent, perfect, deliberate. Their scales catch fragments of light, like mirrors, remembering the Sunday. An ammonite shell lies half buried in the sand below, its spiral glistening faintly. A fossil, yet somehow alive, a bridge between the world you just left and the one that waits here. Everywhere you look, the ocean seems to remember. She remembers the Mesozoic reefs, the soft coral gardens that once shimmered with color. She remembers the ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, their bodies slicing through water like prayers in motion. She remembers the first cells that divided in her darkness, the first breath of oxygen, the first stirrings of consciousness. She remembers everything, and she forgives everything. You float deeper. The water grows cooler, the light dimmer, the world quieter. But it doesn't feel lonely, it feels complete. Here, sound travels farther, but meaning travels deeper. You realize that what you're hearing isn't water at all. It's time, liquid time, flowing around you, erasing nothing, preserving everything. Somewhere in that blue silence, the future is already forming. Tiny organisms drift, unseen but determined. They carry within them the promise of coral reefs, of new continents, of new lives not yet imagined. The ocean is already painting the next chapter, and you are floating inside her imagination. Take a slow breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, even though you are underwater in this vision. In this place, breath is not a necessity, it's a prayer. Each inhale becomes an offering, each exhale a release. You feel your pulse slow until it matches the waves. You and the sea breathe together, and in that harmony, you begin to sense that this suspension, this floating, is what peace truly feels like. The ocean has no need to rush. She moves through centuries as gently as you move through dreams. She teaches you that rest is not stillness, it is surrender. The kind that says, I trust the current to carry me where I belong. And just like that, you start to drift upward again. The water warms, light thickens, the world grows brighter until the surface shimmers above you, a ceiling of moving glass. You break through, and the night greets you again. Stars above, their reflections below, the horizon a line of silver where both skies meet. You lie back, floating on the water. The planet holds you as if you are part of her pulse, which, of course, you are. Every ripple beneath your body travels outward, joining a million other ripples across the world. Waves that began centuries ago still move somewhere far away, still carrying the imprint of storms long forgotten. You are one of those waves now, a single motion in an endless ocean of change. The stars above twinkle softly. Each one is a possibility, a destination the earth has not yet reached. The wind touches your face like a whisper from the future, and you realize something gentle but immense. The story isn't over. It never will be. It only changes depth. When you open your eyes tomorrow, you'll wake into a new layer of the same story, a world still writing itself through you. Every decision, every kindness, every breath you take is another current in the sea of time. You are still part of the Earth's creation, one small wave among billions, but no less essential. So rest now, knowing that the next journey waits, not above the sky, but beneath the waves, down there, in the blue stillness, the oldest secrets of the planet sleep. The songs of whales, the glow of plankton, like constellations under the surface, the murmur of continents shifting below, they are waiting, and someday soon, we will dive together into that sound. When that night comes, the story will begin with water and end with light. You will hear the heartbeat of the deep, slow and endless, and it will sound like peace. But for now, close your eyes. Let the ocean of sleep rise gently to meet you. Let your body become as fluid as water, as calm as the seafloor, as timeless as the tide. You are safe. You are carried. You are part of the motion that never ends. The planet breathes. You breathe with her. And between those breaths lies everything. The past, the future, and this single, eternal moment called now. So drift. Drift softly. The next horizon is waiting below the waves, shimmering in silver and blue. And when you return, the earth will be waiting, smiling quietly, ready to whisper again, good night, good ocean, good journey. Sleep well, traveler. The sea of tomorrow is already dreaming of you. The story has ended, but the silence that follows is not empty. It feels warm, like a hand still resting on yours after the last word is spoken. Listen, there's only breath now, yours and the planet's, in and out. The same rhythm that began before time, the same rhythm that will continue long after dreams. The air moves softly through the room, and somewhere far beneath you, the earth turns, slow, certain, infinite. Her heartbeat matches yours. Her patience wraps around you like a blanket of gravity. You don't need to think anymore. Not about yesterday, not about tomorrow. All of it is held for you by the soil, by the sea, by the quiet intelligence of the world. You are being carried. You always have been. Take one last deep breath. Hold it. Feel it shimmer inside you. Then let it go. like a tide retreating into calm water. Everything releases with it. The weight in your chest, the noise of thought, the need to reach anywhere beyond here. The earth is turning. You are turning with her. The stars are still shining. You are shining with them. No separation. No effort. Only the soft hum of existence. Now close your eyes fully. Let the world fade to a single pulse of warmth. Let it carry you wherever dreams begin. Sleep, traveler. The earth is still breathing, and she is keeping time for you.